Hello, 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 beautiful people, and welcome back to the series. We are still talking about networking, and we're focused on, do you hate networking or are you uncomfortable talking about your accomplishments? So many of us say that we hate networking, we feel uncomfortable doing it, and we feel like it feels itchy or yucky or sales pitchy or cringe. And I want to make sure that we remind ourselves that taking on new skills and doing new things is going to feel uncomfortable initially. It's going to feel like this is not normal for me. And you're right, it's not normal for you yet. And the key word is yet. As you think about what it is you want in the next phase of your life, whatever that thing is, whether that's a new role, whether that's a promotion, whether that's a collaboration, whether that's an entrepreneurial endeavor, whether you want to move into be a gig worker, whether you want to decide to sell fruit on the side of the road, ultimately, networking is really about you focusing on building your community of people that you know and that know you so that those relationships can then guide you in the right direction that fulfills your path, whatever your journey is, whatever your purpose is. So I think about networking just as a strategic way to move my goals, my dreams, my aspirations forward, because I never know who might be the right person to connect me to the next thing that I am thrilled about, looking forward to, excited to do. So we've been in this series for a couple of weeks now. Do you hate networking or are you uncomfortable talking about your accomplishments? And I think for a lot of us, it's that we're uncomfortable talking about our accomplishments. And I want to make sure that we give some skills to be able to overcome that hurdle. So if you're with me live, please do drop your city in the chat. And when you drop your city in the chat, I get to know who is with me and who is riding with me. We've had some folks who've been in with us for a while on Career Gems for the Journey Live, and I love that for you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us live. We also have some folks who are new to the platform, new to LinkedIn Live, or new to our YouTube channel. We want to welcome all of you on all of those platforms. We're excited to have you. We continue to be thrilled about the growth of these platforms, and we want to make sure that we are adding really value-added content, and we're not spending more time than necessary with you, because your time is really important, and we know that. So we're going to be with you for a little while. We're going to try to get this done under 20 minutes. We're going to jump right into the topic, but I always love to know who is with us live. And then I also want to make sure I give a shout out to those who are joining us on the replay. Shout out to all of you who are joining us on the replay. I love that for you. This is one of those types of series where it gives you an opportunity to share this with as many people as you know are looking for their next great opportunity. And looking for their next great opportunity personally, professionally, entrepreneurially, wherever that looks for them, this is a series for you. And it's worthwhile sharing. So go ahead and share the link. You can always find this content on our LinkedIn platform or on our YouTube channel. So I want to jump back into the series and talk about this opportunity to figure out how to refine your storytelling when you're thinking about your performance. So normally when you're navigating performance reviews, and performance reviews are going to be a loaded topic. I understand that. Especially now, performance reviews are a really, really loaded topic. So I'm going to be careful with my words, but I'm going to be honest with you. There's no way to avoid performance reviews if you work inside of an organization that has talent management processes. But when you think about building your network and you think about networking and doing it in a way that feels authentic and comfortable, talking about your accomplishments starts in your performance review process. So if you can get to the point where you are clear, number one, on what your accomplishments are for the year and what you really brought to the table from a value proposition, it gives you a chance to talk to your manager and say, these are the things that I've done. These are the things that I've accomplished. This is why I have been an asset to the company. And it can start from what's the problem that you were given or what's your objective and what did you do to be able to solve that problem and what was the result, right? It's a really easy formula that's well treaded. What was the problem? What did you do? What was the result? So if you think about going into your performance review in a way that allows you to tell that story about one of your main accomplishments, two of your main accomplishments, and you can do it in your performance review, then you get to the point where you know where the high points are in the story. where there's a real impact and where people are going to stay attentive and pay attention and listen, because your manager is your testing ground for how you learn to tell those stories, right? It's a mandatory conversation for a lot of people who work in corporate, nonprofit, or academia. The conversation has to happen. You may as well use it to your advantage. One, to storytell about your accomplishments and hopefully get the performance review rating that you're looking for. But two, to learn the process of telling the story based on what the problem was, what you contributed to the solution, and what was the outcome. Now you are in a place where you can tell that story more seamlessly outside of a performance review setting. So because your manager has to sit down for that performance review conversation, or should, I should say, great managers and strong organizations are doing this all across industry. Because that has to happen anyway, use it as a practice opportunity to really refine your storytelling and your networking technique, so that folks are not only getting the benefit of knowing you and having a one-on-one conversation with you, but you're leaving them better informed about who you are and what you bring to the table than they were before you started the conversation. So structure your accomplishments in a way that allows you to tell a story that feels complete. The problem, what you did, and what was the result, right? So that feels like a complete, a one, two, three. If you do that well with your manager, and then you think, where are the parts where other people outside of my organization who don't know my jargon, don't know the projects, don't know what I may be doing, and I have to provide them a little bit extra context in order to make sure that story feels substantive. It feels right. It feels like they're going to care. It feels like I'm not going to lose them. It feels like it's not going to go over their head. And that's where you practice. You have those three key points, and then you add the context, or you add, more details where it's necessary for someone who's outside of your organization. So I know lots of people right now are doing a mid-year evaluation potentially, or maybe you're getting ready for your performance review season. So getting to the point where you're telling the story about what you did and what you've accomplished and getting better and better at it will make your performance review experience more productive for you. You'll be better informed going in. And then when you leave conversations with your manager, that gives you a chance, especially inside of your organization, to have conversations with your peers, with your manager's peers, with other people, leaders in the organization about your accomplishments. So I want to make sure we think about networking as something that we're doing no matter where we are, whether it's inside of an organization, whether it's at a professional event, whether it's at the grocery store. There, you never know who's crossing your path and who could be the right person to guide you to the goal, or to partner with or collaborate with into your next great opportunity. So it doesn't mean that you have to be on all the time, right? I think that's something that people resist a lot. I have to be on all the time. I never can relax. I don't have the ability to be able to shut down. No, I actually disagree. I think it is really healthy for us to choose when we're going to be in conversation with strangers, especially for our folks and our friends who are introverts and less motivated or less energized, I should say, to communicate with people that they don't have strong relationships with. I think you choose when you're going to be on and when you're going to apply this networking mindset and apply this storytelling about your accomplishments mindset. You choose. And when you don't want to, you take it down and you rest and you recharge and you feel your energy shift. And then when the time comes, you put your opportunities to practice. And your performance review is a great opportunity to practice storytelling about your accomplishments. Now, we've all been in a situation where we've heard someone tell the same story a lot of times. We hear them repeat the same story and we're thinking, oh man, like I've already heard this one. And yeah, it might be a good story, but I've already heard this one. So I like to tell people, get 3 or 4 in your pocket, right? So that's kind of the second point of advice. One is to start your story with what's the problem? What did you do to solve it? And then what was the outcome? Then the second piece of advice is have more than one of these stories to be able to share, so that when you're in an environment, it's not getting redundant, it's not getting repetitive, and you're not getting bored telling the same exact story. So anytime you take an opportunity to say, I'm in an environment where I'm meeting new people, I'm engaging a group of people that I haven't talked to before, you can choose one of those stories. Say it's 3 or 4 that you have at your disposal. you have a bit of a story library, is what we like to call it. So if you have a story library, then you're ready to have a wide range of conversations throughout an entire day, maybe even throughout an entire conference or throughout an entire sales meeting or town hall, because you have 3 or 4 stories that you have in solid rotation that you can tell in the situation, what was the action, what was the result, and you can navigate that in a way that feels really safe for you. The other reason why I want to encourage folks to think about story libraries is sometimes these events can feel very personal, and people can start telling stories that are more personal or taking a conversation in a direction that you don't really want to go. And when they do that, you always have the opportunity to opt out of that conversation, right? Figure out a way to gracefully kind of bow out. Or you can pick a different story in your story library to be able to stay in the conversation, but not have it go into a personal realm that you're not willing to share. So I think it's really healthy for you to have a boundary and say, there's certain things that I'm not willing to share as I network or as I bring myself into these environments. That doesn't mean that other people won't want to share something that feels more personal. It is a really individual choice for you to make. So I'd love to the suggestion of a story library. We have 2 or 3, 4 different things that you're willing to talk about in this setting that gives you a chance to be able to pull a couple things out. Even if conversations start to go a direction that may feel a little more personal, you have a chance to be able to bring it back to something new, something that's work related, something that's business or professional related. So you don't feel like you're going down a road in a conversation you really don't want to go down. So one, structure your stories with the problem or the objective, right? What you did to solve the problem, what was your contribution, and then what was that result, right? So that's kind of the 3 part. And then the next part is to think about, what is the story library? How do I find multiple different accomplishments that I want to talk about in a setting? And once I do that, I keep my library ready so that I can move through different conversations with different people throughout the day and still feel like I am protected and I feel safe, because what I'm sharing are stories that I've already decided I'm willing to share in that environment. And the last one is, think about how you can be a better listener in this networking relationship. So as we listen to other people and listen to their stories, it gives us a chance to really tune in and active listen. And if we actively listen, then there's a chance to just stay in the conversation, and to build upon the other individual story, what they're telling. And people always want to talk about themselves, right? Oftentimes you go to places that people want to talk about themselves. So if you're comfortable being an active listener and it's something that you're good at, giving somebody a chance to feel like you are giving them your undivided attention as you're listening to their story, and then peppering in, comments or enhancements or builds on their story, really does make that person feel like you had a real networking connection. And that is really the goal. And oftentimes you can make that connection, give that person a perceived connection without having to share too much about yourself, if that's something that you're fearful of. So I want to make sure that you guys understand that networking does not have to be uncomfortable. It doesn't have to be painful, and it doesn't have to be an overshare all the time. You can choose how you navigate networking conversations. You can choose what to share, but you can also choose to be a really great, engaged, active listener and ask guiding questions or enhance or build upon a comment that somebody made in their own story. That connection still feels very real to that other person. So I want us to get to the place where we feel like we can use the parts of ourselves that we're willing to share in a networking dialogue. And if we don't feel like there's things that we want to share, then be an excellent active listener. Ask great questions, listen, stay engaged, be a part of the dialogue, build upon other people's stories, and then you have a chance to really still build that connection and exchange information with people. So as you exchange their information, as you stay in the conversation a little bit longer, you may let your guard down more and feel, oh, I feel more comfortable than I felt at the beginning of this conversation. Or it may be, this is not the one, and it's time for me to move on. The part about networking that I want to remind us of oftentimes is, it's a high repetition game. The more you do it, the better you get at it. And the better you get at it, the more effective you can be in your networking conversations. You don't need hours and hours to build a connection with someone. You don't need a very special set of circumstances. Anytime, anywhere, you can turn on this skill of building a network and being able to make a connection with someone and walk away from an interaction with a new idea, a new connection point, a new person to collaborate with. Or you can actually plant a seed with that person that then multiplies their network and it comes your direction. So I think as we come to a close on this series, thinking about networking as a strategic way to get closer to your goals, to your objectives, to your dreams will then take down the stakes a little bit on how we need to go forward, because it is going to be a part of our everyday. It's going to be a part of when we're in a good place and we feel like we have the energy to be able to do it, we're going to do it. We're going to seize the opportunity. And when we don't, we're going to rest and we're going to recharge. And then we'll be in a position to follow up and say, now I'm ready. Now the networking can happen. So 3 key takeaways from today. Number 1 is structure your accomplishments in the form of a story. What was the situation? What was the action? What was the result? It is an easy way to format your stories. If you do it that way, it makes you more consistent in how you tell the story, and you'll get better and better to be able to build upon it. But as long as it has those 3 pieces of infrastructure, and I love to tell folks, think about your performance review with your manager as an opportunity to practice that performance storytelling. Number 2 is develop your story library. So have 2, 3, 4 different stories that you're willing to tell in new environments that you're willing to share because they feel safe for you and it's something that you don't mind giving to other people. And you can have an opportunity to grow and meet other people because you're using stories in your library. It makes you feel safe, and it also allows you to participate in a variety of conversations with a number of different people. And the third one is think about making sure that as you get to the point where you're networking and you're building these connections with individuals, that sometimes you may not feel like this is what you want to do. And it does not mean that every single time you have to be on all the time. It just means when you know an opportunity is coming to network, that you're preparing for it and you're preparing yourself, even physically, to rest, to recharge, to be in a position where you can show up and develop these opportunities. And you never know when you're going to cross paths with the next person who is going to get you closer to your dreams and to your objectives. So I would love, love, love to hear more of us practicing storytelling as well as networking in the next environment. Get into action as quickly as possible on practicing these skills. And when you get into action, you will get better over time. It is a numbers game. You can't avoid being in practice because all of us are doing the same kind of work and we're getting better and better at it, but we can't get better if we're not willing to try. There will be some difficulties. It will feel weird. It will feel strange. It's new. So if you can give yourself a chance to get past the idea of, I need to run back to the way that I've been behaving before, if you can get past that and really step into and stand in, I want to be able to grow this skill and grow this muscle for myself. I believe that we will get to a place where we don't hate networking, but we see it as an opportunity to be connected to the next thing that's going to get us to our goals, to our dreams, get us closer to the work that we're supposed to be doing. So until then, I appreciate you all riding with me today. I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And in between now and then, make your journey work for you.